Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite podcast, Stop the Internet Podcast. I'm your host, Kelee.
And I'm Tricia.
We are so excited about today's episode. We were just picking all of our stories. They're all crazy and very deep. So there's a lot to unpack here today.
Mm-hmm.
Should we do a fact?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have like a theme to follow or
I don't think so.
any fact?
I have nothing on the top of my mind to say right now.
I don't either. Hold on. I try and think of like a quirk. Like that always makes for a good fun fact.
I'm going to look up questions to get to know someone.
Perfect.
Or I'll look up deep questions. Oh my God, these are actually very deep. They could lead to a full hour-long combo. Oh, this one's relevant because I have been rewatching Gossip Girl, and this was in one of the... Have you ever watched it?
I watched the first 2 seasons, I think, in high school, and then I couldn't continue.
Couldn't do it anymore.
No.
Yeah. When they're applying to go to Yale, they go to like the accepted students dinner, and the dean asks them all a question and they have to answer. And the question is, given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want as a dinner guest? Or who could you eat dinner with?
Oh,
who
that's
would
a
you eat
classic.
dinner with?
Yeah.
If you could. Blair has this like crazy answer that's really, really good. And I don't remember what it was.
Shoot. There's probably like someone that I would love to have dinner with because like they know a lot of secrets or something.
Oh,
You know, like
yes.
Illuminati or conspiracy related or something, and just
So true.
no one's coming to mind though, but I feel like that'd be an interesting dinner conversation. But I think like, could it be dead or alive?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so probably like a family member, like maybe my uncle.
Aw.
Yeah.
I think I would probably choose someone like Taylor Swift.
Oh yeah.
Or, I don't know.
She would be amazing.
I think I would choose Taylor.
Yeah.
At this point. Yeah. Okay. Fun fact. Actually, we should have all of our listeners answer that as well, because I think someone could probably think of a better answer than I just thought of.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're interested in telling us who you would have dinner with, feel free to comment on our YouTube videos or on our Instagram. Amazing. Okay, let's jump into the complicated stories. Which one should we do first? There's so many good ones.
I feel like we have to start with like a banger to get us in the mindset.
I just found this story right before you got here.
Oh yeah.
And this one's crazy.
Okay.
My 25 female husband, 28 male, reacted poorly to someone breaking into our house last night, and I am looking at him differently. What would you do in this situation? I was woken up around 7 a.m. this morning to my husband asking, "Did you bring someone here last night?" To which I replied, "No, what are you talking about?" He said, "We have a weird situation. There's a stranger in the house." So I was freaking out and jumped out of bed. I went in the living room, and there was a woman in our living room crying, saying she didn't know how she got here. Mind you, we have a 4-year-old who sleeps in his own room. Apparently, she had been here all night sleeping on our couch. So I'm freaking out and telling her I don't care how you got here or why, but you need to leave now. Well, apparently my husband had offered her a cigarette and let her go on our deck to smoke. And then he proceeded to tell me he was going to give her a ride somewhere. I was literally begging him not to. I told him it was dangerous and to please not. He said directly to me, "I'm going to do it." So I called our landlord, who lives directly under us, and asked him to check the cameras that he has outside to see when she might have broken in. He left work and rushed here. While we were waiting for him to get here, I left the room to get something, and 2 seconds later, my husband comes in the room. I'm like, "What are you doing? You can't leave the baby alone with her in the other room. Like, where are your protective/survival skills?" When our landlord got here, he approached her very assertively and was asking a bunch of questions and asked us if we wanted to call the cops. I said yes, despite knowing that my husband did not want to. So the cops come and decide to take her to the hospital. It was definitely a mental health and/or drug situation, which I can sympathize with, but ultimately she broke into our home and I'm so shaken up and I want to move immediately. I don't even want to sleep here tonight. Anyway, my question is, am I overreacting by looking at him different in this situation? I feel like he was so nonchalant about the situation. It could have been way worse, and his response is to offer her a cigarette and a ride? I'm just mind blown and not feeling safe at all. What are your thoughts? What would you do in this situation? I am actually considering leaving him after this. There are other issues that are irrelevant to this situation, but this has really pushed me over the edge. I can't tell if I'm being over dramatic.
Excuse me? I love how he says, did you invite someone over? Like, he just sounds dumb, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, oh, did you invite someone over? There's a strange lady that I have never met sleeping on our couch.
Yeah.
And I assume my spouse, who he's probably been with for a decent amount of time, just invited someone over. Didn't tell him he's never met this person, but they're sleeping on their couch. Like, they know them well enough to stay over. And
then when you figure out that it's not your wife's friend, like, okay, I mean, I get why he asked her that, but then when she's like, no, I don't know this woman, he's like, oh, okay, I'll handle it. And he goes over and he's like, hey, you want a cigarette?
Yeah.
I can take you anywhere you want. What? Like, I would be screaming, being like, get the fuck out of my house. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I cannot. Well, that's what I hope I would do.
Right.
I definitely wouldn't remain calm. I wouldn't treat the woman like she was a friend, even though she's probably in a sad situation. I just would not ever react like that to someone being in my house.
I know. I mean, when it said that she started crying and didn't know how she got there, it made me think of like those stories you hear about people with dementia.
Oh,
who like wander around. So like that makes me sad. But then they said it might have been like a mental break or a drug situation, which still just as scary.
Yeah.
I just feel like in any one of those situations, that person probably needs medical attention.
Yes.
In some form. So just call, emergency services like right away. It sounds like this was drug out so long.
Yes. And for what? Like, call the police.
And this woman's just in their living room like this whole time.
Yeah.
If I were her crying about not knowing where I was, I would be like, get me out of here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm scared.
Wait, that's so true. Okay, I feel like if it was an older woman, like a grandmother age, I might react a little bit differently and be like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah.
But I would still ask them to get out of the house. Like, I would be like, wait on the porch, the police will come.
Yeah.
But like, you can't, like, as normal civilians, we can't help these people in the way that they need to be helped. Like you said, like an ambulance needs to come, a police officer, they need medical attention. Like, that's not something that I can give them. All I can give them is a place to wait, which I guess could be the porch, but it's not going to be my living room. I'm so sorry, regardless of what the situation is. Yeah. That's so scary.
Yeah.
And
wait, sorry, what did he say in the beginning? Like, we have a situation. Like,
he said, he's like, did you invite someone over? And she's like, no, what are you talking about? And he goes, we have a weird situation. There's a stranger in the house. Sir.
If someone's breaking into my house, I'm not going to wake up and be like, I am in the middle of a weird situation. Like, what kind of reaction is that?
And also, like, there's I mean, we don't know how he said it. Like, he could have been saying it in a scared tone, but just being like, there's a stranger in the house. Like, I would be like, there's a fucking woman sitting in our living room and I don't know who she is. Like, how are you that calm?
I know. Maybe he's just, I don't know, blissfully unaware.
Maybe. Okay, so is she being over dramatic to consider leaving him over this or looking at him differently? I don't think she's being over dramatic. I do think, though, it opens a door to a conversation where they can have honest communication about how they handle crises. Which is interesting, but I feel like a lot of couples faced something similar when the pandemic hit because everyone handles this like scary situation differently. Like, some people see it as this extremely terrifying situation where you have to change your whole life and like there's no way to avoid it. And then some people see it as like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. So
it's just temporary, like just ride it out.
Or like, oh, I'll just like do this and then it'll make it better. And maybe that's what he was thinking. Like, maybe he's like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I'll just deal with it. So I don't think they necessarily need to break up just because they handle crises differently, unless one of them feels that the other person handles it in a way that's like a non-negotiable for them.
Yeah.
But I think she is just very shaken up and she can feel however she wants. Like, I don't think she's being over dramatic, but I think if they talk about it, maybe she'll be able to see where he's coming from. And maybe looking back on it, it was a good thing that he didn't freak out. Like, you never know. Maybe that would have made it worse.
Yeah.
But I get that she has her son in the back of her mind and she's like, how are you not thinking of him first? And like, how can I protect him? But maybe he was. He just thinks about it in a different way.
Yeah. I know. I always think it's interesting how there are so many different types of personalities in the world. And like some people will react, like you were saying, totally differently to the same situation as someone else. But then maybe this husband would freak out in a different situation where the wife would remain calm.
Yeah.
Just people are so different. And it's just very interesting to me all the time. And like, I don't know. I always think about that. I'm not really into astrology, but it is funny how it's like certain signs, like there's certain like really calm signs and there's certain like dramatic signs and stuff. I just think it's so funny how like people can be so different.
Yeah.
Like personalities are just so like the spectrum is just so big. And like people fall everywhere. Like, I don't know. It's just very interesting.
I was thinking about something similar recently. Our Christmas episode was getting lots of traction and interesting comments with other people's opinions. And one of the stories that got a lot of interesting responses was the one about, am I the asshole for telling my partner that I don't like the presents he gets me? And on like surface level, it would probably be easy to be like, yeah, you're an asshole, it's just a present. But then if you think deeper about it and you're like, okay, well, some people's love language is receiving gifts, and you're allowed to feel however you want. Like, regardless of what you're feeling, you're allowed to feel it. You're not necessarily allowed to be an asshole or take your feelings out on someone else, but you're allowed to feel how you are feeling. And then I think I just have to remind myself that it's like, even if I don't care about this, it doesn't mean that nobody should care. So some of the comments were like, it's just a gift. And I was like, yeah, it's just a gift to us. Like, to me, it's just a gift. But if that's something that she values in her life and she cares about, she's justified in having a conversation with her husband about it. And I feel like same thing with this. It's like, yeah, she might be dramatic, but that's just how she reacted to this crazy thing. And she's justified in that reaction. Is her husband justified? I feel like he is as well. Yeah. Even though they don't agree with each other.
Yeah. I mean, no one ended up being harmed in this event. So like, I feel like the way that both of them handled it like could be correct because you know, no harm came to anyone, and it was resolved eventually. So it's like, who's to say who's responsible for like the end resolution of the event? I don't know. Was it the wife for calling the cops? Was the husband for remaining calm? I don't know. But you know, so
seems like they are like the best of both worlds. Like we have someone remaining calm,
opposites attract.
And we have someone calling the cops. I feel like both of those things are important.
Right.
I get why she's so scared though, because she's like, oh, if something like this happened again, like would he just always react in this like calm, easygoing way? Right. Even if it was like way worse. So
and
I get why
she's the one that has to like pick up the slack for like the protective side of the event.
Exactly. And she's like, how is your son and his safety not like your first thought in your mind? But like you said, it's like, maybe it was. He just like sees the safety differently, or how to achieve the safety differently.
Right.
I don't know. I don't think she's being dramatic, but I think that they can talk about it first before making any rash decisions. The top comment was, he probably viewed it as less of a threat because she's a woman. I totally understand your response though. No one wants a stranger in their house, and most would expect a sense of urgency from their partner. I think that's true too. It's like, if it was a man, he probably would have reacted way differently. So
but also, like, if the person was in their house intentionally, that's a lot scarier than someone who doesn't know how they got there.
Yes, that's so true too.
Yeah.
Okay, I think she's not wrong to be over dramatic, but I think communication, ask him why he reacted that way, get his feelings about it, and then act accordingly. I cannot imagine.
No, it's so scary.
Actually, I was listening to a podcast. I think it was What We Said. One of the girls was like, I hate when you say something and somebody says, oh my God, I cannot imagine. And it's like, actually, all you can do is imagine. Like, that's the only thing you can do, because it doesn't affect you at all. So the only thing you can do is imagine. And I'm like, okay, that's actually true. That is very true.
I say that a lot, too.
I say it too.
I
all
always
the time.
say that. I could not imagine.
I'm like, okay, wait, I guess I can. My husband curses our baby out when no one's around. I'm shocked as I'm writing this. I don't even know what to say to him. This happened yesterday night and tonight. Also, English isn't my first language. My husband and I are both 30s, had a baby girl in September. We wanted to become parents, and he was over the moon when I told him I was pregnant. Ever since she was born, he's been super involved. He longs for any opportunity to hold her or feed her. He's the one bathing her in the evening as part of her bedtime routine. We have a baby monitor that we usually turn on once she's asleep. Yesterday, while he put her to bed and sat next to her crib, I was hanging out in the living room when I heard some talking and realized the baby monitor was on. The volume was quite low, so I couldn't make out the words at first, but when I turned it up, I froze. What I listened to was my husband talking to our baby, basically insulting her and cursing her out. This sweet man sat next to the crib saying things like, "I hate you so much, you have no idea. That's right, you heard me, you little fucker. I don't want this to be deleted, so I won't go into too much detail, but WTF." When he came to join me in the living room, I asked him if everything was all right without mentioning what I heard, and he was completely normal, the sweetest guy. So tonight, I turned the baby monitor on ahead of time, purposely to listen in on them again, and he did it again. I'm so confused. The way he speaks to our baby is horrifying. I'm not sure if I should be worried for her safety and how to even approach this.
What?
This is shocking.
Yes.
I kind of am speechless right now, actually.
How do you get to that point in your life where you feel the need to curse out a baby, like let alone your own newborn? What?
And what is going on in his head where he's so normal all the times that he's with other people and the baby, but then when he's alone with the baby, that's how he acts. Like he just puts on a show when he's with other people.
Right.
But then when he's alone with the baby, it's like he's just unhinged.
What is the reason? Like, what could she have possibly done to him?
I mean, it's just shocking. This reminds me of over the summer, I saw something like this in real life. It was so bizarre. My mom and I went to CVS, and this guy was walking in at the same time as us with this little baby in a stroller, and the baby was so little. Like, it was probably only like a month old or less, and it was crying, like screaming, crying. Like, it was definitely hungry, and he was like cursing at the baby. He's like, "Shut the fuck up. Like, nobody cares." And he was like, "Yeah, you want to cry? Cry. I don't care." And my mom and I were looking at each other like, and we were in the store for like kind of the same amount of time as him. And I was kind of like not following him, but anytime I would be close to him in the store, I would be like listening to see what he said. And he did it the whole time that he was in the store.
Oh my God.
He would literally be like, "Nobody cares. Cry, cry. I don't fucking care." Literally to a month-old infant. It was so scary. I was like, should I be like calling the cops? But like, what can you do in that situation? He's not physically harming anyone. He's not like breaking the law in any way just because he's using mean words. Like,
but like, would that be like some form of abuse, like verbal abuse, or even though
I
it's a
guess,
newborn?
yeah, I guess it would. I don't know. And then the weirdest thing was when he got to the front of the store, there's a long line of people checking out. And so he was near me in the line. And he was like, "Oh, you know, like he was being nice. He's like, 'You're daddy's little girl,' like being so nice." And then other people around him were like, you know how sometimes when there's a baby in public, you just kind of like smile at them, or you're like do this little giggle when you like interact with them in a friendly way. Other people were doing that towards him. And he's like, "I know you're hungry. I know, we're almost home." And then everyone around him was like, "Oh, you're okay, look, like little baby." And like kind of like smiling and like giving the dad a little giggle.
So like, were you and your mom the only ones who heard him?
I guess, because we were walking in at the same time as him. Like, we heard him in the parking lot, and then we were in the store at the same time as him, and then in the line is when he started being nice again. And my mom and I were just like staring at each other like, what do we do?
Right.
And then
that's scary.
Everyone left. Yeah. And I don't know where he went after that.
Oh my God.
But
it's scary. Even I feel like you'd want to almost say something to him, but if he's getting that mad at a newborn, imagine what he would say to someone that can actually talk back to him.
That's the thing. Like, part of me wanted to be like, is everything okay?
Yeah.
But then it's like, I don't know what he is capable of or how he's going to react to a stranger, like watching him at this like terrible moment.
Right.
Like, who knows? Like, I don't know. I don't know what I should have done in that situation. Like, what I'm guessing was probably the most likely is that that he was watching his baby that day and he was a tired parent who's losing their mind and like losing their patience. Yeah. And the only way that he could, not that this is the right thing to do, but the only way that he could get past it was like taking his anger out verbally on his baby, because that's what's like giving him the problem. So I assume that that's what it was. It was like a little baby crying. He probably is sleep deprived. He still did something wrong. Like, it's still a horrendous thing to do, to be like screaming and cursing at a baby. But it didn't seem like, I don't know. I don't know. I can only assume what his situation was, but I'm like, should I have done something more? Like, I don't know.
I mean, I don't know if this is like the most up-to-date term for it, but like shaken baby syndrome.
Yes.
Is a thing.
Yeah.
Because, you know, parents like
lose their patience.
Yeah, they get so stressed out. Like, I mean, I don't have a child, so I can't speak on this, you know, from experience or anything, but I can only imagine like it's a big life change. At least babies, like newborns, I'm pretty sure they have to eat like every 2 to 3 hours, you know, 24/7. So you're not getting a full night's sleep for months of your life. Like, I don't know, it's just so much change happens, and the baby is constantly in need of your time and attention. Like, I can see how it gets stressful and overwhelming, but I don't know if I would ever like curse out a baby,
especially in public. Like, I could see like in your kitchen and you're like, oh my god, I need 1 second of peace and quiet. But like, to do it in public, it's like, I can only imagine how bad it is at his home. But I still don't know if there's anything that you could have, or that I could have done about that.
It just makes you nervous, like, as the child gets older, like, is it going to get worse? Like, as far as like the parents' aggression towards them.
Like, I would like to think that this was just an overtired dad that lost his patience, and
it was like an isolated moment in
like
his life.
It just came out as like verbal abuse, but that's what I hope. And I hope that was the extent of it, but I don't know.
Wow.
I hope he went home and fed his baby, and the baby was then happy. I mean, I don't know what he was buying. Maybe he was buying formula. I didn't even look at what he was buying, but so crazy, but very similar to this story. Like, how do you react? And then especially when it's your husband and your baby in your own home. Like, she has to confront him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like I've had moments, like, I have a dog who cries a lot.
Ollie.
He cries a lot. And I think that it's not because he's sad or stressed. I think that he has learned we respond to him when he cries. So he'll lay there and he'll cry, but his tail is wagging. And I think to him, he's just like making noise to communicate with us. But traditionally, like, that's the sound that a dog makes when they're crying. Like, it's the high-pitched whine. And it's constant. So we're always like, stop crying. Like, but I feel like I have never reached the point of like cursing him out or like wanting to like, I don't know, like yell at him while we're alone or anything. I do get to the point sometimes where I'm like, oh my god, stop. But like, that's as far as I'll go. Like, I just can't relate.
And that's a dog. Like, you love a dog. Like a dog. Like, you don't.
Probably not as much as I would love my child.
A child that you gave birth to. Like, crazy. The top comment on this situation was, this is such a terrible situation to be in. I agree with a lot of the comments saying that you should record it when it happens, again, if you're able. I have seen
interesting.
I think that's a good idea too, because if you're gonna take any action against him, or God forbid it would like lead to something worse, you need to like have proof of all of the evidence.
Unfortunately, there are parents out there who would like fake this claim against another.
To like get what they want. So sad. They said, I have seen some people suggest reaching out to a psychiatrist or a lawyer before confronting him. I don't necessarily agree unless you plan on doing either of those things within the next few days. I wouldn't sit on this too long, OP. You have no idea if these are just cruel words or if he wishes to harm your baby, and the longer you sit on this, the more chances he has to be around her or alone with her. So true. Record him, and yes, do not confront him alone. Who knows what he might do if pushed into a corner. It could be PPD, as others have mentioned, but we aren't capable of giving that diagnosis. This is why it's important to confront him with a third party and a recording. So true. don't confront him alone. Oh my God, crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like she could maybe, if she has any family members that are willing to help her, maybe just invite someone over to always keep an extra eye on the baby and be helping while she figures out her next move. And then I think she does need to confront him and be like, hey, is everything okay? I just heard you kind of stressing on the baby monitor.
Right.
And it could start there.
Yeah.
And see what he says. Because if he's like, well, I don't know. That's saying I hate you to your baby in private. Like, I hate you so much you have no idea to your baby. That kind of seems worse than what the guy that I saw in CVS, for example, was saying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hate you. It could be postpartum depression.
Yeah.
And maybe he does need psychiatric help.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like he does no matter what. Because this is not normal.
I feel like the way that she should go about confronting him, though, is with caring instead of like, what are you doing? Because that would probably elicit a negative response. Whereas if she was like, babe, oh my God, I just heard you saying this. You seem so stressed and upset. Like, what happened? Like, what can I do to help you? And then maybe he would react to it in a different way. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, yeah, if he's dealing with a mental health struggle, I think you just need to offer support. And even though it's so appalling that it came to this, it's not necessarily his fault if it is a mental health struggle. So we don't just want to blame him. But yeah, I wouldn't let him alone with the baby if I could help it.
No, that's
ever
terrifying.
again.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Wow.
Isn't it so sad that like some people, all they want is to have kids and they'd be the best parents, and then some people don't want to be parents but they have kids by accident.
Yeah.
And then they're just stuck with kids they don't want. So sad.
Really sad.
Moving on. Maybe this one will be a little more lighthearted. Am I the asshole for making my parents choose between my sister going to jail or replacing my car with their vacation money? What? Okay.
Classic sisters.
I, female 17, live with my parents. I have an older sister, 29, that they had when they were super young. Like, I think my mom was 19 and my dad was 18. They did not do a great job with her and she has a lot of problems. She is chronically unemployed and she is a thief. Oh, that's sad. She has 2 kids that are okay. They live with us as well because her boyfriend didn't want them around. I like the kids, but they are spoiled little brats my parents dote on to make up for being shitty parents to their mom. My parents won't let me put a lock on my door because it is their house and they don't want that. No problem. I talked to the kids and explained what would happen if they came into my room without permission. We have an understanding. Well, my sister broke up with her boyfriend and she needed a place to stay. I begged my parents not to let her stay with us. They declined. So I begged again for a lock on my door. No dice. I have to go to school so I can't guard my stuff at all times. When I came home on Friday, I found my car absolutely trashed and the side of it destroyed. My sister had gone into my room, found my spare key, and taken my car, then lost control on the ice after a day of eating crap and tossing fast food wrappers everywhere. She sideswiped a tree. When I saw my car, I was livid. I told my parents that I expected her to pay to fix it. They said she didn't have any money. So I said I would call my grandparents. They had helped me get a car and insurance. After talking to my grandfather, I came back to talk to my parents. I said that the insurance would cover fixing or replacing my car depending on the damage, but that I would have to file a police report and that my sister would probably be charged for stealing my car. They begged me to tell insurance that she had permission. I said no. So rather than go through insurance, they are replacing my car. But they are using money that they had set aside to take me and my nieces to Orlando next summer for my graduation. It's fine. I can do without seeing Disney World again. But my parents, sister, and nieces are upset with me and saying that I'm an asshole for denying my nieces the opportunity to go on a vacation that they have never had. I just asked them if a lock for my door would have been cheaper. Am I the asshole? Oh my God. Savage to ask about the lock.
I was gonna say, I think the older sister is the one who's denying the vacation.
Yeah.
Because she wrecked the car.
Yeah. Wait, so true.
Now it has to be paid for somehow. Yeah.
Wait, that's so true. They shouldn't be blaming the parents or OP. They should be blaming the sister, because if the sister got her shit together, she could have been like, look, I'll get a job, I'll pay you back for the vacation fund, and then my daughter and my sister can go with you to Orlando. Yeah, they're blaming the wrong person.
Yeah.
So OP is just expected to not get her car fixed after it was destroyed.
Right.
And then
and not say anything about like the sister like stealing the car in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, it sounds like they're like mad that OP even like brought this up and is like demanding that this wrong be righted.
The sister is the asshole regardless.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Why are we blaming OP? When the sister stole the car, crashed it, destroyed it, doesn't have a job, refuses to pay for it, is letting her parents fix all her problems and look out for her, and then everyone's blaming OP because she wants to keep her property nice and fix the car that was destroyed?
No.
No. Everyone's whack in this situation. There was one edit. She said, "Hey, I just got home from school. There is a deadbolt on my bedroom door and my mom gave me a key. She said that she is keeping the other one for emergencies. I agreed as long as it was only for emergencies."
Wow.
So... Okay, I guess it took the sister stealing the car and destroying it for the mom to like understand that the sister needs to be kept out and there needs to be locks.
A legitimate request from OP.
Wow.
That sucks. That sucks for OP that they have whoever it is, they have to like lock their bedroom.
I know.
That sucks. They can't even trust their family members.
I know. That is sad. Everyone voted not the asshole. Top comment was, "Play stupid games, win stupid prizes." And then they quoted I just asked them if a lock for my door would have been cheaper. They go, "Legend." So true.
Wow. I like that.
I love
stupid
that.
Games, get stupid prizes.
Yeah. Taylor Swift uses that in a song.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince.
Oh, yeah.
You
so
play
funny.
Stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
That's so funny.
Am I wrong for wishing my boyfriend was a woman? Okay. Firstly, I need to start off by saying I am in a very happy relationship. There is no toxicity or resentment between us or anything that would prompt the need for us to break up. So please don't suggest that. I'm looking for genuine advice. Now, my boyfriend and I have been friends for almost 2 years. We recently started dating about 2 months ago. I am 21 and bisexual, and my boyfriend is 20 and straight. He is very caring, emotionally and physically supportive, educated, and is very successful in his own path of work. As well as being very physically attractive, we are both very independent in our own right. Together, I believe our relationship is very strong because of the fact that we are together by choice, not obligation. Seemingly, our relationship is perfect. We are both very in tune with each other mentally, physically, and sexually. Sexually, he is the best I've ever had. He makes me feel amazing and beautiful, and he's so sweet and kind. So this train of thought is not stemming from any inadequacies on his part, which makes me feel even more guilty as to why I have this train of thought at all. But I sometimes catch myself wishing that he was a woman. Admittedly, I have always dreamt about loving and marrying a woman, and in a way, I feel sort of sad that I'm not currently with a woman. I have been in about 6 serious relationships with men and 2 with women. He is so easygoing and the most understanding man I've ever been with. I am more masculine presenting, especially during the summer, and he has no qualms about my appearance. He tells me I'm beautiful regardless. But my family often makes comments about how I'm the gay daughter and how I always look very gay chic when I dress more masculine. And I have to remind them I'm not gay, just bisexual, and they always look disappointed when I tell them that. I'm just tired and mad at myself for sometimes wishing that he was a woman. I don't want to change him. I want him to know he's enough for me because he is. So why do I keep thinking about this? I feel like she's answering her own question in her question. Like, she's like, he's enough for me and I don't want to change him, but I wish he was a woman.
Right.
It's like, well, that's fine that you don't want to change him, like that individual, but if you wish you were dating a woman, you're probably subconsciously not as happy as you think you are, and he can be amazing and wonderful and like the best friend and most supportive partner you've had. But if you're feeling like something is missing in your relationship, that's okay too. Like, those things can all coexist, and it doesn't make you a bad person to love your partner fully and see them as perfect and still be missing something in your relationship. I think that happens to a lot of people, and that's why people stay in relationships, because they're like, oh, well, nothing's wrong with them.
Right.
They're great, and all the qualities about them I love, but I feel like something's missing, and that's okay. And it's very normal. But I think it's just it seems a little more complicated because I feel like she's not realizing realizing that what she might be thinking is like something's missing, but it's like that thought of something's missing is manifesting as I wish he was a woman. Like what she's missing in her life is that she would feel more fulfilled by dating a woman, and that's what's missing.
Right. Or even something she doesn't know, like she doesn't realize what is missing. Like maybe another man could fulfill that.
That's true too.
Who knows?
Yeah, like she can't put her finger on what's missing.
But she's assuming that it's the gender.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Totally. Yeah.
This is interesting.
Yes.
Wait, I don't understand why she included the part about her family.
Wait, yeah, that's so true. She says how her family makes comments about how she's the gay daughter and she looks gay chic and she's masculine, and she has to remind them that she's not gay, she's just bisexual, and they look disappointed.
So is that supposed to say that like her family wants her to date a woman as well? Like,
yeah. Wait, yeah, that
confused.
whole paragraph seems...
It just seemed out of place.
Yeah, it kind of seems irrelevant, but is it irrelevant? Or does her family know something that she doesn't know? Like, does her family know her better than she knows herself in a way? I mean, obviously the way that you dress and the way that you look has actually nothing to do with what you prefer. So maybe it's just something that annoys her.
Yeah,
like
she needed to get it off her chest. She's just
like,
threw it in there, too.
Yeah. I do kind of feel like she's answering her own questions, though. Like, she's like, is it bad? Am I wrong for wishing my boyfriend was a woman? And she's like, I just see myself dating a woman and marrying a woman. It's like, well, then do it. Like, you're not wrong at all. Yeah. And your partner is wonderful. Your boyfriend is wonderful and is an amazing partner, but it's okay if you don't want to end up with him.
Right. And maybe like, how do I want to say this? If she's been picturing herself marrying a woman for like, you know, however long, it seems like a long time. Yeah. Maybe that has become part of her identity. So now that she's like with this guy and possibly could end up with him, it's like changing the way she sees herself.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I recently have been hearing the term like personality inventory or something like that. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
I think it's something like that where like people go through life and they collect little like things that they kind of like add to their personality. Like, oh, I'm good at, I don't know, painting. And like, it doesn't have to be part of your personality, but you can make it part of your personality if you want it to, and you can identify with that like heavily. So I feel like maybe like it's part of her personality or like identity that she's always pictured herself with a woman, and now that she's with a man, it's kind of throwing her for a loop.
Yeah, that's so interesting because obviously there's things about our personalities that change or evolve as we get older, and maybe her seeing herself with a woman was something that she felt in the past, and it may or may not be changing, who knows, but if it is changing, maybe she just hasn't come to terms with the fact that how she envisioned her life isn't how her life is going to turn out.
Right.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing. So I feel like this happens with a lot of people where they see this vision in their head of what their life is going to be. And then even if what actually happens in their life is better than what they could have envisioned, you still kind of have to mourn the fact that your life isn't what you thought it was going to be. But you can still be so thankful for the life that you have and like wouldn't trade it for anything. But you're still allowed to feel sad that this life that you imagined for yourself isn't what you got. I think that sounds very complicated, but it makes sense in my head.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and so that could be the case here, but also that doesn't have to be the case. Like, she has the right and the option to still be with whoever she wants to be with. So I think just keeping in mind that you're not wrong. You can feel however you want to feel, but I think it just becomes more complicated when she has this amazing thing. Right. And she would have to give it up for something else that she doesn't even know yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary.
Right.
It's like a risk. So,
exactly. Yeah. And if she gave up this amazing relationship, who knows if she would find a better one with a woman or not. But she's probably just scared, and it's probably very confusing too to be like, I'm in this amazing relationship. Like, why am I still not happy? But that's so common. Like, regardless of what this secret is or something that's missing, or anytime you're not feeling fulfilled in a relationship, just because the person is nice and amazing and wonderful doesn't mean you need to stay with them. And you would probably be happier alone than being with the wrong person. Am I the asshole for telling my sister-in-law that no one in our family is named Stephanie? I can't figure out if I did anything wrong, or if so, what, because I honestly have no idea what's going on. Hopefully someone here can give me a clue. Here's the relevant info as far as I know. My brother and his wife are expecting their first girl after 2 boys. I love Ricky and Jace, and so does my sister-in-law, but she has always wanted a girl and is very excited to be having one. She also wants to name the girl Chloe, as she loves that name. My brother hates the name Chloe and really wants to name their daughter Stephanie. They have been arguing about it for a few weeks since finding out the gender. I got to my parents' house late last night and my sister-in-law was the only person still awake. We talked for a little bit and she asked me the weirdest question. She asked me if I knew any stories about great Aunt Stephanie. I was so confused. I literally said, who? Sister-in-law clarified that she was talking about our grandmother's older sister that died when grandma was a little girl. Our grandma had 2 sisters, but their names were Judy and Lynn. There's no one in our family named Stephanie, as far as I know. I told as much to my sister-in-law. She changed the subject after that, and we soon went to bed. This morning, my brother and his wife were both sulking during breakfast. Even the kids could tell. Ricky kept saying, "Stop being grumpy on Christmas." So it wasn't just my imagination. I got my brother alone and confronted him. He snapped at me for meddling and told me to stay out of his marriage. My brother is pissed at me and my sister-in-law won't even talk to me. I'm afraid to say anything to my parents and drag them into this, especially since I don't know what this is. Either my grandmother had a secret sister that I don't know about, but my brother does for some reason, or my brother lied to his wife to convince her to name their baby Stephanie. Both options seem equally weird to me. Maybe there's a third possibility I'm not seeing. Am I the asshole? If so, please explain to me why. I feel like it's clear what's happening here. No. I think that the brother has lied to his wife.
Yes.
And created a fake family member because he wants the baby's name to be Stephanie.
That is just so... That's another level. That's just...
Yes. It's like, that's a bold thing to lie about when there's things like Ancestry.com and 23andMe right. And everyone knows their entire family tree.
Yeah.
And also, if you're going to lie about that, shouldn't you clear it with your family first? Yeah. I mean, I don't think you should lie at all, but if you're going to make up a fake family member, shouldn't you warn your family?
Right. I'm just cracking up at the title because, like, out of context, it's so funny.
I know.
Am I the asshole? Wait, what was it?
It was, am I the asshole for telling my sister-in-law that no one in our family is named Stephanie? I think, no, so you're not. No. Your brother is just dumb.
Yes.
And it's not your fault. And I think that the sister-in-law is mad at her husband, and rightfully so. She's allowed to be mad that her husband lied to her, and that's manifesting as being grumpy the next day, which is fine. And she is not blaming you. She probably just doesn't want to talk to anyone, and that just includes you. And they need to work through that together.
Wow. Just bold of him to assume that, like, he would get away with that.
I know.
And for years, too.
And that it would never come out.
Right. Like, wouldn't you think that, like, by the time your daughter, Stephanie, can, like, ask questions, she might have questions about, like, her namesake? Is that what it's called? Or would she be the namesake?
I think she would be the namesake. The person she's named after would be Great Aunt Stephanie. Great Aunt Stephanie.
Would she not want to know about Great Aunt Stephanie? See pictures? Like, come on.
I wonder if the brother was like, I just have to keep up the lie until after she's born because then it's too late and she won't be able to change the name. This brother is just bold.
Yeah. Could you imagine finding out afterwards, though?
Like, I'd be so pissed.
You name your daughter Stephanie and then he's like, yeah, like, there's no Great Aunt Stephanie.
I kind of think this is like crazy person behavior.
Yes.
Like, I would be like, I just lost all the trust I had in you.
Crazy or dumb, like one or the other.
Both of them are bad when you have 2 kids together and you have another one on the way.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for her sister-in-law. She really has to deal with this dumbass liar.
Yeah. It's just crazy. At least she has the sister.
So true. At least it came out now.
Yes.
And you know that daughter is going to be named Chloe.
Oh, yeah. She better
After
be.
this one, the brother is never recovering from this.
No. He will never get to name a single thing ever again.
No. Stephanie will never be his daughter.
No.
There was an update. Most awkward Christmas Eve dinner ever. Gotta keep this short. Everyone now knows what my brother was doing with the kids' names. Except the kids, obviously. They are pissed. Weirdly, my mom is the most pissed. A Christmas truce is in place for the kids, so no fighting on the holiday. However, the baby is definitely going to be named Chloe. My brother very quickly backed down when my mom said some few choice words to him. The topic is completely banned for the rest of the festivities, so for now at least, they've tied a bow on the situation.
Go, Grandma.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm glad that the sister-in-law, aka the pregnant mother, got what she wanted out of this, because her husband's just a dumbass.
Yeah, and he got some sense smacked into him.
Yes.
By his mom. That just goes to show, like, you're never too old to need some sense smacked into you by your mom.
That is so true.
A good lesson to take away from this.
So true. And don't make up fake family members in order to get your partner to agree to the name that you like.
That's just so funny.
What if they picked one of those interesting names that's like way more popular now?
Like Arrow?
Yeah. Or like Luna.
Yeah.
It's like Great Aunt Luna, and it's like nobody's name was Luna.
No, sorry.
On the same front as naming children, this story was deleted, but I still remember the details, so I'm just going to describe it. The title is, My Dad is naming my half-sibling exactly the same name as me. Is it my responsibility to solve this issue? So this was like a 16-year-old girl named Lily, and her parents were divorced. Her dad remarried, and his new wife was pregnant, and they're having a little girl. They're planning to name the baby Liliana.
I can't.
And so Lily, OP, is like, Dad, what? That's literally my name. And he's like, no, your name is Lily. Her name will be Liliana. They are completely different names, and we're naming her Liliana. And she's like, what? And that was the gist of the story.
So, like, their next kid, are they going to be like, is it going to be like Liliana Chloe? Like, they're just going to like keep adding. I'm just thinking Chloe because of our girl.
Just like adding a few more syllables every time.
And they're like, no, it's a different name. That's crazy.
I think that the dad is so selfish.
Yes.
And he knows that he's wrong. And he like was getting mad at her for asking, like, why are you naming her my name? She's like, it's not your name. It's Liliana. It's different. And it's like the dad is getting mad because he knows he's wrong. But like, where does the dad get off naming two of his children the same name?
Literally.
Just because they have different moms? So weird.
Also, like, you have to assume that little girl is going to have at least one person in her life call her Lily, Lil. Like,
oh my gosh, yes.
A shortened form that's going to be identical to her older stepsister.
Everyone is going to call the baby Lily.
Yes. It's crazy. I also, like, if I was I guess the second wife or whatever, I'd be like, no, like, I want to do my own thing. Like, that, like, your ex-wife chose that name, and now we're like, I don't know.
What if crazy? What if it was like, no, I still think I am reasonable enough to let this go, but I'm trying to be open-minded. It's like, okay, what if the pregnant mom always dreamed of naming her daughter Liliana or Lily, whatever, and she married the guy, and he happened to already have a daughter named Lily? It's like, I could see why she would still feel inclined to name her daughter that. She's like, oh, it's not my kid, and it's not the exact same name. But it's like, at that point, you gotta pick a different name.
Yeah.
His daughter already has that name. Your stepdaughter is named that.
That's, I was gonna say, like, you kind of already got it.
Yeah.
Because she is your stepdaughter.
True.
So
that's
like,
so true.
You know, like, you got it. It's done with. Like,
so true.
Time to move on. Choose another name.
I think the parents are out of line.
Yes.
With that one.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah. Like, imagine, like, you're Kelly and someone's like, well, this is like Kellyanne. Like, it's like,
I'd be like,
no.
Okay. Or like a different spelling of the same name or something.
Yeah.
And you're like, my sister, same name as me. Dad, come on.
My cousin on my other side of my family, I remember when we were really, really little, she used to tell me that twins had to have the same name. Just little kids are so funny, but I always think about that. I'm like, imagine if that was actually how like
I think
it was in society.
I think they do that in other cultures.
Oh, really? They have the same name?
These two girls that I went to high school with, I was friends with one of them, and I didn't know her sister as well, so I didn't know this at first.
Yeah.
But they went by their middle names, and I think that both of their first names were the same, and I think that's common. I want to say they were Mexican, because I think they had a quinceañera.
Oh, okay.
So I think they were Mexican, but yeah, they had the same first name.
I was gonna say, now that you say that, it kind of rings a bell. Even like in other cultures, like people have like the same like middle name, and then they have like multiple last names, but they have like everyone's name is like almost the same, and they have like 5 names, and they're like all the same, except for like maybe one.
Yeah.
Like maybe their first name or maybe like their middle name or something is different. So that is true. She wasn't wrong then.
Yeah, she wasn't too far
wrong.
off. But like most people most of the time do not name 2 of their children the same name.
Yes.
Especially if they're not twins. Like I totally see the cultural thing. Like that's actually very interesting.
Yeah.
But still, they did not go by the name that was the same. Like they had individual names that made them individuals, and that just happened to be their middle name, and that's what everyone knew them by. When this girl in high school, when she told me that it's always shocking when somebody goes by their middle name.
Yeah.
And then you find out that that's not their first name, and you're like, whoa, like I see you so differently now. So when she told me that her first name was actually this other name, and it was also her sister's name, I was like, what? I thought she was lying.
Yeah.
To me.
I would think the same thing. I'd think I'm being pranked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so interesting.
That's
I
cool.
haven't thought about them in so long. I hope they're doing well. She was such a nice girl. Am I the asshole for refusing my sister's offer to be in her bridal party and not giving an explanation? I, 26 female, fell in love with my sister's partner. This began about a year ago when my sister had to travel for work for an extended period of time, and her partner got into a pretty bad car accident just a week after she left. Without going into too much detail about his injuries, he needed someone staying with him and helping him get around for a while. I do freelance work from home to support myself, so they asked me if I could go and stay in their home for a while as her partner's temporary caregiver while he recovered. I immediately agreed, wanting to help in any way that I could. Her partner and I were already good friends prior to the situation, but living with someone and being there in some of their most intimate moments obviously strengthens a bond even further. We bonded over our many shared interests and got to talk about deeper things that were typically off limits in group settings. By the time I realized my changing feelings, it was too late to distance myself from the situation. I had committed to helping him for the duration of his recovery, and a sudden change in my behavior would just tip him off that something was wrong and add unnecessary stress to an already hard time. He had expressed feeling like a burden more than once, so I pulled away the little bit I could, and we rode out those last few weeks together before he was back on his feet again. To make a long story short, the period that followed was full of guilt from me and confusion from my sister's partner by my quick disappearance following our time together. He eventually texted me and asked if he had done something wrong during our time together and pissed me off somehow. So we met up and I came clean. The conversation was a brutal one, and it eventually ended in both of us agreeing that we would limit our time together from now on, as there was no hope for an actual future for us. It would simply be too weird given the history. Fast forward to now. The two of them got engaged somewhat recently, and this past Saturday, my sister asked me to be in her wedding as part of her bridal party. I asked her to let me think about it, which already caused some tension, and finally told her yesterday that I was incredibly grateful for her offer, but I had to turn it down. I'm fine attending as a guest, but being in the party just feels too much. She is now furious with me and is demanding I give her an explanation at the very least, something that I have refused. Am I the asshole?
Oh my God.
There's a lot to unpack here. Part of me is just like, yeah, you're a fucking asshole for falling for your sister's boyfriend. But at the same time, it's like, it's not like she meant to. Like, It's not like she had bad intentions going into trying to help him after an accident. She found herself feeling romantic feelings for him. And as soon as she realized those romantic feelings, she tried to distance herself from him, which I think is the right move.
Mm-hmm. It's very hard to
so
do that.
Hard. Yes. I think that was very respectful. I find it very weird that she talked to the boyfriend about it, and they together decided that they would limit their time from now on, as there was no hope for an actual future for them, because it would just be too weird given the history. So is her boyfriend talking to the sister and saying, well, there's no hope for us, we can't be together? Because that is so shady.
Yes.
And the reason
why...
the reason why is because it would be too weird.
Right.
Not because he's madly in love with her sister.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that too.
Like, what? That is the wrong reason.
Yeah.
His reason should be, we're not going to be together because I'm in a happy and loving relationship with your sister and I don't see you romantically. That should have been the reason, but it wasn't. So I think that's problematic. And I think that as soon as that situation happened, she should have told her sister.
Yeah.
But I guess we're past that. And now the question is, I'm not going to be in her bridal party. Am I the asshole? I don't think you're an asshole for not being in the bridal party, but I think you're an asshole for, I don't know. It's like, is she an asshole though? Because she didn't mean to fall for him.
Right. So part of me, like, I just cannot relate. I just feel like there are people in your life where you just, like, have boundaries that you would never cross.
Agreed.
Like, mentally, like, you could never, you know, get to that point with someone just because of, like, the role they play in your life, who they are.
Totally.
The harm you could cause to others. Like, so I just, like, can't relate to this, but I also have never been in a situation where I'm, like, intimately caring for someone, like, 24/7. It sounds like a movie, honestly.
It does.
But it sounds like the responsible thing to do to not be part of the wedding. But my one thing is, I was in my sister's wedding about a year and a half ago, I guess, and I did not encounter the groom that often in wedding festivities, because it's mostly like bride related stuff that you do. So
yeah,
but I don't know, like, their traditions, maybe it's different for them, so maybe she would be, you know, in the same place as him more often than she'd want to be, but I don't know.
I find it weird that around a year ago was when she started engaging with him, and now a year later they're engaged. It's like, are you still feeling that intensely about him?
That's true.
But, I mean, I guess she could be, but I also can't relate, because I totally see what you're saying about, like, boundaries and, like, the role that certain people play in your life. As soon as my sister is romantically involved with someone, they become, like, untouchable to me. Like, I just do not find them attractive. Like, my sister dated this guy for a long time. I love him. I think he's great. He's funny. Never could I ever see him in a romantic way, like, ever, regardless of how much time I spent with him. And so it's shocking that she did wind up feeling this way. I guess anything can happen though, and it's like, just because I don't know what it's like doesn't mean it's not possible. So okay, it would be very easy to be like, yeah, you're an asshole for having an emotional affair with your sister's boyfriend, but she didn't really engage in it. Like, it seems like, if she's being truthful in what she's saying, it seems like as soon as she started feeling this way, she recognized that it was wrong and was trying to separate herself from the situation. And that's like the opposite of what an asshole would do.
Yeah, it's very mature.
Yeah. And then when your sister wants you to be in her wedding and OP said no and didn't tell her the reason, I feel like to protect her sister's peace. And it's like, that's also not an asshole move. I guess the only thing making you an asshole is not telling your sister the truth.
I know. I was gonna say, like, now OP has to live with this secret, I guess, for the rest of her life. I don't know. I feel like that's not fair to you.
Right.
But the only way to, like, maybe feel better, maybe not the only way, but, like, a good way to feel better about it would be to, like, be honest with your sister. But yeah, it could really mess with her if you tell her that.
I think if she was able to be in the wedding, because it's not like she doesn't support her sister's relationship. Like, she supports it so much that she is doing anything she can to separate herself from it. So that's nice. But if she could still be in the wedding without going through like emotional turmoil, I think it would be nice to be in her sister's wedding. Like that would be the nice thing to do. But maybe she can't do that in the emotional state that she's in.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's an asshole.
No.
But I think she made a mistake. And the mistake wasn't refusing to be in the wedding. It was not telling your sister the truth.
Yeah.
I think she probably should have told her sister after she told the boyfriend, and the boyfriend now knew. Because it's like, does everyone get to know except the sister? Like the sister should know what's going on in her own relationship. And I feel like once OP realized what her true feelings were, it would be such a hard conversation. But I feel like she has to say it.
Yeah.
And she has to be like, look, I got to know your boyfriend, fiance, whatever. I started feeling emotional feelings towards him. I knew that was so wrong. I didn't want to step on your toes. I didn't want to make anything weird between us. So I just figured I would separate myself from him for a while, get over it, move on, find happiness in my own life, and everything would be fine. And I'll support your relationship. I know what I'm feeling is wrong, but you have the right to know. And that's why I'm acting this way.
Yeah.
Because I think that most people would have more respect for someone that was honest with them rather than someone who's hiding something.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like you could almost downplay it because if you're never going to act on it, then like, what's the point in making it seem like it's a big deal and these serious feelings? Like, you know what I mean? I feel like when you're telling her, you could almost just be like, I think it was just like, you know, while I was there. Yeah. But now that I'm not caring for him anymore, I can't imagine these feelings like won't subside. Yeah. You know, like, just like, it's just a phase. Like, you know, just like downplay it and then like no one panics maybe. And then I feel like you're also tricking yourself into realizing it wasn't that deep.
That's true too. I feel like she should be delusional for herself and like convince yourself in any way possible that this is not your person. Yeah. You know?
Give yourself the ick.
Yes, give yourself the ick. That's what you need. I don't know. It's like, would downplaying it work though? Because I'm thinking like, what if your sister came to you and they were like, oh my God, when I was like spending some extra time with Chad, like I started feeling myself have a little crush on him. Like he's such a good guy. Like I can see why you like him. I would be like, what a weird way to say that. Like, oh, you have a crush on my boyfriend? Like that's fucking weird. Yeah. And I just feel like there's no way that she could say it other than straight up telling the truth and being like, I spent a lot of time with him. I've had romantic thoughts about him and they're so wrong and bad and I don't want to feel that way. I separated myself so I can move on like any other person you like that doesn't work out or something like that.
And if the sister is like secure enough in her relationship, you know, maybe she'll be okay with it. Because like as long as it was just like a one-sided thing, like her sister had these feelings that, you know, weren't reciprocated. Because honestly, like I feel like if someone were to tell me like, oh, like your boyfriend is so cute, like I wish, you know, I could date someone just like him or something, I wouldn't feel threatened like they're gonna steal my boyfriend because I realize how much he loves me. So you know what I mean? I'd be like, I hope you do find someone like him, but like I would not be like, oh no, like he's gonna leave me for her, you know. So as long as maybe they're like secure in their own relationship, like maybe the sister won't even really feel too upset or betrayed or threatened or anything like that.
I agree, but I think in this situation the sister kind of I just don't think that the sister deserves to be marrying this guy. Like, I think that the reasoning is so off. Like, I feel like a lot of times in these Reddit stories, like people have reasoning for their actions or the way that they feel, but the reasoning is just so off. They're like,
oh, well, the mark there.
Exactly. They're like, oh yeah, we're not together because it would be way too weird. It's like, no, you're not together because he's happily engaged to your sister, right? Or no, is that not the reason? Because that should be the reason.
Am I missing something?
And if that's not the reason, if the reason that you're not now dating your sister's fiance, if the reason in both of your minds is truly because it would be too weird considering your history, none of you should be dating. None of you should be dating any of you.
Just give up.
Yes.
Quit while you're ahead.
Yes.
Yikes.
So are you the asshole for falling in love, falling for your sister's boyfriend? Not necessarily. Are you the asshole for saying no and separating yourself so you can get over these feelings? No. That seems kind of mature. Are you the asshole for having a secret meeting with your sister's boyfriend to decide whether or not you two should pursue a relationship outside of your sister? Yes. I think that's the problem.
Yes.
So yeah, asshole, but not for the reason that you think.
Right. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. There was a lot to unpack there, but I feel like we unpacked it.
Yes, I think we did. I think we hit everything.
Okay. We'll do one more and then we'll wrap it up. My girlfriend was acting like a smartass, so I made her cry and apologize to me, and she said she learned this shit from TikTok. Okay. This will be a lesson in healthy relationships. I, 25 male, and my girlfriend, 24 female, are dating for 7 months. She's the sweetest girl and is my dream girl. But last month, she kept sending me, I love you and you are my world messages, and then the next day ignores me. She says, let's spend the night together, and I tell her to give me a few minutes, then ignores me when I make time for her. I work as an engineer and trying to run a business, so I'm really busy with life, but I still make as much time as I can with her. I always spend the night with her watching movies or sleeping on video calls with her. I try out her hobbies to make her feel like I'm with her in everything, learn cooking for her, and try to look for games that are her type so we can play them together. I barely sleep, just trying to focus on her and my work, but that's fine, really. I'm happy. Last week, I sent her a message and she ignored me. I sent her a message asking why she is ignoring me, and she answered, oh, did I ignore you? Or did you send me a message not worth replying to? I lost it after that and told her, you're right, ignore me more. The next day, she sent me a good morning message and I ignored it. She asked me why I didn't reply back, and I said, oh, did I not reply? Or was your message not worth replying to?
Damn.
She got pissed and said, don't talk to me. I should mention, my girl is the type to say, don't talk to me, and then gets mad when I don't talk to her. So when we argue and she says that, I sit her down or call her to try to fix it like normal people because I don't have time for the drama. But this time, I ignored her. So after a few hours, she texted me and asked why I didn't call her and why I just ignored her. I replied with, did I ignore you? Or did... Oh my God. This guy's a savage. I replied with, did I ignore you? Or it just wasn't worth it to talk to you about? She got pissed even more and went to sleep saying, you made me cry. I hope you are happy. And I ignored it again. The next day, she woke up and started texting me paragraphs about how bad of a boyfriend I am, and I ignored it again. We didn't talk for that whole day because she knows what I'm gonna answer her with. At that time, I was planning to text her the next day sweet stuff like, I love you a lot, and then the next day ignore her again like she was doing. But she decided to grow up a little bit and text me and apologize. I was in the middle of work at that time, but she said she is really sorry and wants to talk about what she did and fix it. So I left for an early break to talk to her on the phone. Ugh, mature king. She explained why she was doing all of this. She said she saw multiple videos on TikTok saying stuff like, do you want him to love you more? Text him sweet things one day and the next day ignore him. Or when he says, why do you ignore me? Tell him, did I ignore you? Or was your message not worth replying to? And
Jeez.
Shit like that. And girls in the comments saying, haha, my boyfriend loves me more after this. I laughed at her so hard, people around me thought I was crazy. I explained to her how much of an idiot she is for thinking this would ever work in any relationship, and she apologized again. I accepted her apology because it's really nothing big, just wanted her to know what she is doing. I asked her why would she do this anyway. I asked her if she feels that I'm ignoring her and not giving her enough attention or stuff like that, and she said no, I just wanted to feel some drama in the relationship. I told her how I was planning to text her a lot the next day and then ignore her the day after, and she said she kept crying the whole night last night when I used her drama against her. I asked her if she wants more drama, and she said no, so I guess she learned her lesson. Also, to the people who post videos encouraging people to ignore their partners and shit like that, from the bottom of my heart, F you. You are ruining relationships with this shit.
What? I don't know what to say.
Wait, I love that she literally is so immature and is playing games with her boyfriend of 7 months.
Yes.
And then she gets mad when he treats her the same way that she's treating him. Like, what did she expect him to do? I think, like, this idea of, oh, say something nice and then ignore them comes from when you, like, first meet a guy, to not, like, jump down their throat and be all over them. Yeah. And, like, yeah, be nice to them, but, like, you know, take it slow.
Yeah,
give them space. Yeah. Yeah. Don't be too crazy. Like, you can say nice things, but don't be overbearing. Just take it slow and figure it out. I feel like that's what they meant by that. Not. Yes. But who knows? Maybe they are telling people, your boyfriend of 7 months, just ignore him the whole day. Just ignore him. He'll love you more. I think that's quite backwards.
Also, why are you looking for more drama in a relationship that's only 7 months old?
Yeah. Wait, so true.
Like, it's not like, I don't know, but I could not imagine you have to like spice things up or anything right now.
Yeah, like you're in the heart of the honeymoon phase. Like, shouldn't you be good to go? For now.
Like, chill. Please.
I like that the guy is just like so mature though, and he's like, I'm in the middle of work, I make time for her, and then she hits me with this bullshit. And so I respond in the same way, treat her the same way, which I feel like, do it. It's petty, but do it. And then he like leaves work for her because he's like, okay, she wants to apologize, I'll hear her out. He forgives her, but he's like for real with her. He's like, no, you're an idiot, but like it's fine. Like, I'll forgive you, but you're so dumb.
I can't deal with the whole like ignoring thing when you're like in an argument. Like, who has time for that? I just like, I don't know. I feel like I've dealt with that enough, and at this point in my life, I'm just like, if I want to try and like teach someone a lesson or make them see that I'm upset, I'm not gonna like stop responding and hope they pick up on the cues. I'm like, I'll just tell people like, hey, I'm a little bit disappointed right now, or like upset with you, or there's no point in like playing these games. It's just so crazy.
It's so stupid. And also, like, if you want to say things over text message to spice things up, that's great, but ignoring your partner is not how that's gonna happen. No, that's gonna make them forget about you. There's positive ways to spice things up, or there's negative ways. Or there's this.
Or there's this.
The top comment was, did you say she's 14?
Literally, that's what she sounds like. I was picturing like a 30-year-old and like a 21-year-old. So they're 24 and 25. They're only 1 year apart. Like, she just needs to, I think, grow up a little bit. Someone said, your girlfriend is mentally 12 years old. Good luck with that. Someone else said, right? I'm torn between emotionally abusive toddler and just a fucking idiot. That's what me and Trish always have to decide. We're like, okay, do you have bad intentions and you're emotionally abusive, or are you just actually dumb and you don't even know that this is wrong? And I think a lot of people are dumb. Shout out to one of our past episodes called Maybe Your Ex is Just Dumb. Honestly,
there's a lot of dumb people out there.
It's like, how has humanity survived? Like, survival of the fittest should have wiped us out.
Wait, that's so true.
There are so many dumb people.
That's so true. Sometimes I think I might be one of them.
Me too.
But not like this bad. Like, I think I can use my common sense enough to know that after dating someone and being in a healthy relationship for 7 months, you don't need to play these games to like try to get them to like you more. Like, I think he already likes you. Like, you're dating for 7 months.
And you're in your mid-20s. I don't know. This sounds like high school relationship type stuff. Why are you getting relationship advice from TikTok too? I'm sorry.
Especially advice that's trying to add drama to your life. Like, it's one thing if it's healthy and it's like, here's how to solve problems, but this advice is, here's how to create problems. That's gonna make him like you more. It's like, why would problems and drama make him like you more?
I feel like there will never be a time where you have to create drama. Like, drama will always be there. You just have to look for it.
That's so true.
But you never have to create it. Don't do that. Ever.
I did hear this idea that like girls fall in love by spending time with people, and then guys fall in love in the absence of you.
Oh,
like,
interesting.
When you spend time with each other and then you leave, and then you're like, oh wait, she really is like so awesome. So that's why people say take it slow in the beginning of relationships. Like, don't be overbearing and like texting this person every day. Like, give them time to think and like think about their feelings and figure out how they feel about you. But not after you're dating them for 7 months.
No. I mean, I am kind of like, while you were reading it, some parts I was like, oh, I relate to that. And I'm like, shoot, am I toxic?
Wait, like what?
I don't know. But then you would say like the next sentence and I'm like, oh God, no, like that was not me. Never mind. There was like 3 things. I'm like, oh God, I think I've done that before. But now I'm like, no, I'm okay.
Yes. Healthy communication. That's what we all need. Love it.
But wait, going back to the thing about about like girls and guys falling in love differently. On, I think it was What We Said podcast, one of them said like, maybe it's about like attraction and not necessarily falling in love, but it's like guys are attracted to girls and like girls are attracted to like the idea of themselves or something.
Oh, idea of themselves.
Or like, I don't know, something like that. And I found that so interesting.
I've heard that guys fall in love with a girl and like who she is today, and then girls fall in love with the potential of a guy.
Oh, interesting.
Which I think anyone could do. Like maybe it just tends to lean more in the way that like more girls do it than guys, but I feel like anyone could fall in love with the idea of someone. And I think that's why people go back to their ex, or people keep giving chances to people that disappoint them.
Yeah.
And it's because you see the potential for what could be in a relationship between you and this person, but the potential for what could happen isn't what's real.
Right.
And so it causes problems when you give this person another chance and you're in love with this idea, but they don't live up to the idea.
Yes. Yeah.
And I feel like that's another thing where even if what this person is, even if it's better than the idea that you created, or if it's equally as good but just different than this idea of them that you created, you're never going to truly be happy because you fell in love with this idea of what you wanted, and that's just not them. But yeah, I think that happens a lot when people go through breakups because they're like, but this is what I wanted in that relationship. And then you think back to the relationship and you're like, and we could still have that if like this and this happened. And it's like, no, you can't have that with that person.
Right.
It's very unlikely that this idea that you fell in love with would work with them. Like there's a reason why you broke up and like that.
Yeah, and that's not who they are. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it also stems from when you like someone and then you romanticize them in your mind. And then you always see those TikToks that like, oh, I just stopped talking to my situationship. Like, who am I going to romanticize and fantasize about when I'm falling asleep tonight? I'm like, that is so true. Like, I really try to not do that with anyone anymore. Like, I try to make myself the subject of my romanticizing.
Wow.
It's very hard. Like, I feel like I rarely achieve it. Like, I do still think about, like, a guy that I like or whatever. But I remember when I was going through, like, it wasn't a real breakup. It was just, like, a situationship at the time. But I was talking to my sister about that. This is when I was, like, super young, like 21, 22. And I was like, what do I think about now? Like, I just think about him all the time and, like, imagine all these scenarios, like, when I'm falling asleep. And she's like, it sounds so corny, but think about yourself. Like, just try to not think about him and think about yourself and fantasize about yourself. And I was like, queen, okay. Yeah. Aaron. I know. I was like, I kind of should.
Yeah.
And then you're like secretly...
That's amazing advice.
I know. And then you're like secretly manifesting at the same time. Because if you're just imagining yourself as like the highlight of your fantasies, you're just manifesting this like fantasy.
Yeah, like this amazing self.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I never thought about that.
Yeah. I'm going to go to bed tonight and think about like the guy that I have a crush on though. Yeah. So romanticize yourself, not the idea of some random guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we wrap it up? I feel like that was a positive thing to end on.
That was great.
Yeah. Like, we are the stars of our own fantasies and our own lives. Yeah.
I love that.
I love that. Okay. That was good. Cool. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed our episode. I like this episode.
Yeah, that was fun.
I feel like we had some like really heavy topics and then we also had lighthearted ones like the Stephanie one.
Stephanie.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening to our podcast. We love you. We appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.